Assalamu alaikum, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is the second part of the post and core lecture. Before we go to the detail of this lecture, we summarize the previous lecture like post and core are usually used in anatomically treated tooth. Badly broken tooth needs build up first to have a base for the artificial crown. Post in the root canals holds the core build up the tooth, and core will act as a base for the artificial crown. This is the root canal material, this is the post, this is the core, and this is the artificial crown. So the topic we'll be discussing today is the topics is divided into principle of tooth preparation for post and core, preparation of the root canals for post, and impression making. So the principle of tooth preparation for post and core is the preservation of the tooth structure and establishment of resistance and as retention form. So the preservation of tooth structure is also important. You are supposed to remove minimum of the tooth structure and achieving the fadule. What is fadule? If you compare this thing in this tooth, you can see here the core is just seating over the dentine, uh, and the crown, you can see this is the artificial crown, it's just seating over the dentine, sound dentine. But here it is encircling, this artificial crown is encircling the, you can say, root or dentine of the root. So it is basically two-dimensional figure, so it will be all around. So the fadule is basically a metal collar around around the tooth, which basically protects the root fracture. Here is more, you can see easily. Here the crown just seating, here the crown is encircling the dentine. So fadule is the axial extent of the wall, artificial or crown, applicable to the missing of the root structure. Fadule basically helps the binding the remaining tooth structure together, thus preventing the root fracture during mastication. So the retention from the form of the post, how do we attain retention form? The post length as long as possible, but should not disturb the apical seal. Short length of the post might fracture the root. So the ideal post length should be like this. So 3 millimeter to 5 millimeter, the cutter pressure should be there. Too short posts basically can cause fracture as well. Too long posts will compromise the apical seal. The post diameter, increase the diameter, increasing the retention, but the post diameter should be one third of the diameter of the root. Excessive increase the diameter will cause fracture of the root. So this is too narrow, this is too wide, and this is adequate. So too wide, if you have too wide, then there's chance of root fracture. So the retention of post also dependent on the parallel post, tapered post. More parallel post, more retention; more tapered post, less retention; more serration, most retention; a smooth post, less retention. So you have different type of post, the tapered post, the serration post. You can have different type of post. So the retention of the post again can be with the help of luting agent. Resin cement have more, you can say, retention as compared to GIC, which might fracture. Then we have the resistance form. Resistance form should be like in such a way that it should be like this. So the transmission of the forces will be proper. If it is with sharp angles, then the direction will not be good. Again, establishment of resistance form, you are supposed to give small groove, which helps in retention of the establishing resistance form of the post. Now preparing a canal for the post, customized made post and prefabricated post. When we talk about post, we have two types of post: custom made post and prefabricated post. Custom made post basically are made initially. They are custom made and they have a variety of sizes. But prefabricated post, you can say, sorry, when we talk about custom made post, custom made are specifically made for the canals. When you talk about prefabricated post, they are made different sizes, and there is available, you can say, and you select the post according to the canal anatomy. But for custom made posts, you take the impressions of the canal and they are specifically made for that specific canal. But for both cases, you're supposed to remove the anterior filling materials, you're supposed to enlarge the canals, and prepare the coronal part of the tooth structure. For common procedure for both canals for custom-made and prefabricated posts to remove the anaerobic filling materials, for example, with the help of gate students. Here we are removing the materials and then the shape the canal with the help of gauge lens, piezo reamer and parapose drills, then shaping the canals by parapose drills, for example here, and use of piezo reamers and preparation of the coronal part tool structures, for example the ferrule, then impression making of the post, the prefabricated post. In prefabricated post we select the post initially, and we put the luting agent and the post inside the canal. Here you can see the cemented post in the canal. These are prefabricated posts, and then we do the core buildup, and then we just finish the pour, and we take an impression with the help of light body and silicone. This is the impression gun. You can say the mixing of the light body. This is the heavy body or putty, and then incomplete mixing, complete mixing, and now we're loaded the materials on the tray. This is the light body, and then we take the impression, but it does not include the canal impression. Okay, now we have the wax up, the blue inlay uh, wax up core with inlay wax for porcelain future metal crowns. After casting, the wax is replaced by metal. Then we do the build up and firing of the porcelain, and then we have this crown as well. So this was basically we were talking about the post which was prefabricated. Now we'll talk about the post which are custom made posts. For custom made posts, we may have to make the impression of the canal. So we need some impression post. This is an impression post which holds the impression materials during the impression of the canals. We inject the light body inside the canal, you can see, and then we put the impression post inside for further light body added, and the post supports the light body here. You'll see we have a small serration in the impression post, and then impression post completely covered the light body, and then putty with the light body, and then we are taking impression first for the canal, and we take out this. You can see the impression from the canals. This was the initial condition. Now there's canal post impression as well. We pour the mortar, and the condition is like this. Now we do the big wax up here with casting, including the post wax up, complete wax up, cast and post of the model. You can see here when you take out, this was the wax up, and now it is converted to this. Take out for your convenience and learning, and we put this post and core for trialing stage inside the mouth, and we fix it with the help of luting agent, and we just trim it and just shape it and do some crown shaping and preparation, and we take a second impression now only of core. The first impression of the canal, now the second impression of the core. So the core wax up again, the blue inlay wax, the matte it's now again changing into core. Now porcelain future metal for the custom made post and core. So in custom made post and core, you can say in a custom made post we take two impressions, one of the canal, the second of the crown, or you can say core build up. In prefabricated post, we take only one impression. So that was the basic difference. I hope you understand this lecture. It's a difficult lecture. Okay, take care. Allah Hafiz.